Well, here we are again, in more ways than one. Welcome to another fortnightly vlog. No, I get it right in the end. We haven't even started yet. Right, welcome to the fortnightly vlog. If you've tuned in to look at the film, the canal that wasn't, then jump forward about 20 minutes and you'll find it there. The rest of us are going to have a treat looking back on the comments from all you guys out there that have added some humour and a lot of facts. So I suggest you give this one a go as well, because it's well worth it, well worth it. Mind you, we start off with James from Canada. Can't recommend it enough. James says, I'll trade you rain for the snow any day. Yes, knee deep in snow over there, is our James. I managed to break the handle on my shovel this week, so I took that as a sign not to bother to try keeping up with the white stuff. Ah, divine intervention, eh, James? Unfortunately, he says, my sister brought me over a new one and I'm back in business. How's your luck, James? Oh dear. He's been busy, he says, marking exams and my other favourite, parent-teacher interviews. Oh boy, well, James, if you want to be a teacher, I'm afraid that comes with the territory. Not to worry. Right, now, the film 2 weeks ago on the tail end of the last vlog was on the Honybourne, on the Gloucestershire and Warwickshire Heritage Railway. We've got as far as Broadway, and we were looking at the track between there and Honybourne to see what the chances are. But, David from Spain, he was feeling much better since he had his kidney stone removed, which is good news. We've got to go back for some tests later in the year. There's plenty of potential for the route up to Honybourne, just as long as they don't build on it. There must be so many disused railway lines now under threat of having buildings plonked on them. We're building everywhere at the minute. It says Honybourne is a functional station today, a sign of the times, I suppose. Yeah, there wasn't much glory or decoration to it, was there really? It's just a functional station, as David says. But he enjoys seeing the Intercity 125 pass through. I like the shot of the final two bridges as well, he says, the old and the new. A real contrast between how things were built and how they are today, and I know which was my favourite. Right, Malcolm Richardson says, Honybourne and sunshine makes you think of spring. It's not far away. And one day, he says, the return of steam. I'm certain they will get there, unless, let's say, as David says, unless they build on it, they'll get there one day. One day. Marilyn, the Parkinson's Walk's virtual family elder sister, Marilyn. She has got a couple of you later on. Yes, you know who you are. Good morning, Ron, she says. Thank you for the video, and it's so nice to hear everyone's goings on. Yeah. What a maze of walkways they've made at Honybourne Station. Did you see all those ramps going up this way, that way? Right? Oh. She says it would take me about 5 minutes to get from one side to the other. Yeah, blimey, not much fun, is it? I was interested to see the contrast between the two trains, she said. The new one is much narrower than the lovely HST. Passenger comfort has been sacrificed. She says, referring back to heritage railways, you never quite know what's going to happen on the railway, like the second nasty landslip for the Severn Valley Railway. Yeah, I don't know if you've seen pictures of that, the heritage railway, Severn Valley. They've had an embankment failure in quite a big way too. That's going to cost a bit. And as Marilyn says, also the Bridgewater Canal. They've had a devastating breach, which is enormous. She says, I think that the repair bill will have lots of noughts on the end. You can bet your life, Marilyn. Yeah, well. Michael, Poland. I can say Michael Spring now. I do take him to getting a knot roundabout there. Michael from Poland says, morning Ron, forget everything I said about spring weather on the 1st of February. That was the last vlog. Today, Friday the 14th of February, winter has returned with a vengeance. It's -10 outside, oh my God, with about 5 centimetres of overnight snow. I've been out with the dog this morning just after 7 AM and all he wanted to do was go to the loo and straight back indoors. Who can blame him? Oh, dear. Barry comments, I'm glad this didn't turn out to be a bridge too far. I wonder if the stone base was because they joined onto an existing structure. Yeah, there's some interesting mix-ups there, wasn't there? Charles' comments about narrow roads is interesting. Carts and carriages, yes, but then small cars and a lot of giving away. Yeah, Charles's comment hasn't come up yet, but you'll understand that comment there when we've got to it. Lionel and Mary Travels. Lionel put a video up the other day, hunting for snowdrops. Yeah, we've come on since then now. There's daffodils all over the place as well. Gorgeous. Spring's coming, folks. At least in this part of the world. And Lionel says, I watched someone else walk that same track bed a while ago and it was extremely overgrown. Oh. It looks much better now. It may be many more people are using it as a footpath nowadays. Yeah, I understand you can walk from Broadway all the way up to Honybourne on that line without interference. I wonder. Pete Payne. Pete, yes, just got in from walking the yob. Sid the dog's playing up, I think. Oh dear, poor old Pete. So all is well on the bike front. And I've got plenty going on with more coming in, so that's good. Yeah, Pete keeps us up to speed with his restorations. He does motorbike restorations, and that's good stuff. He said, I've just finished a 1938 Brush Superior MX-80, which had been off the road since 1978. Christ. I've had the engine out and given it a rebore and lots of other work too. It started second kick and runs nicely. What a feeling of satisfaction that must be. The second kick and she's fired up. Great stuff. Jim Nichols says, it's always good to see how old railways are being brought back to life. I just wish I had the chance to visit them. Yeah, that's Jim from down in New Zealand. I don't think Jim feels he's up to long distance travel these days. Never mind, Jim, we'll keep sending the videos your way. It didn't look too good, the weather didn't look too good today, he says. But you're heading in the right direction anyway. Spring on the way, yeah. I think Jim keeps an eye on what's happening with weather around here. And then Mike from Fireball XL, whatever it is. Anyway, Mike, this in part one, as this was a two-part series. So this end, part one, are much nearer to home for me. I've walked and cycled some of these, and having watched the last two videos at plus 30 degrees in Costa Rica, I came home to a chilly 5 degrees. But that was a contrast. I remember once in America, Florida, wearing shorts all the time. I came home and didn't see any reason to change. Oh boy, nearly froze to death. Right, here's Charles then. Charles from the US of A. And so polite, such a gentleman. I apologise in advance, he says, and hope this does not come across as rude of me. As I said to Charles, don't worry about being rude on this channel, Charles, nobody else does. As we'll see. But the narrowness of your roads, coupled with cars parked on either side, is quite stunning. Not even addressing the road width on those old bridges that appear to have been built for horse and narrow carriages. Yeah. He said that kind of design would result in critically high numbers of accidents over this way in the US. Perhaps your drivers are a bit more polite and courteous than our race-like drivers over here. I wish we could say they were, Charles. If we have our share of idiot drivers, I have to say. But yes, of course, our roads, you're quite right, did start off as narrow lanes for horse use. And whereas they've been resurfaced many times over the years, no one's sought to increase the width of them yet, and somehow I don't think they will. West Country wanderings. Ah, Paul, no. Yeah. Just having a little catch up here. West Country wanderings are Paul then, who wanders all over the West Country doing stuff, filming everything, wonderful stuff. He says, yes, the weather has been disappointing of late, very difficult for making videos. Didn't stop him, but it's very difficult. Ah, my secret sources, he says, because we wondered how Paul got all his research, because you watch one of his videos and he's giving information from start to finish, marvellous amount of stuff. He says, my secret sources, well, they're mainly old books from bookshops, yeah, the old stuff. And then somebody woke Simon up, regrettably, and he says, Paul has secret sources, does he work for Heinz? Sources, not so, it's hard work. Right, last week's film then was Kelstone, the last bit I'm going to film anyway, of the Mangotsfield to Bath branch railway. And Marilyn says, good morning Ron, that was very brave, yes, on a two-wheeled transport I have to say. She said, I've seen the unkind remarks below with helpful stability ideas. What a cheek, and from your own virtual family too. Oh, you're in trouble. You fired Marilyn up. Oh dear. She says, I wonder how you did on the way back up the gradual incline. Yeah, I see exactly what you mean there, Marilyn. Although it's not much of an incline, it just goes on and on and on, and it gradually wears you down, doesn't it? Yeah, it certainly wore me down. It sounded like it wore Marilyn down as well when she was attempting it. She says, the nasty icy wind is gone at last up here, so we're hoping to get to go exploring on the train this weekend. Well, I hope you're not out there today, Marilyn, because it ain't that good. Well done. Trev. Trev. Good evening, Ron. Thank you for today's video. And then Trev goes and describes that railway line that we went on there down as far as Kelstone. Tons of information. Whatever you do, if you're thinking of visiting that area, don't do that until you've read Trev's notes, because you'll benefit much more from it when you go down and look at it. Yeah, so well done, Trevor. Absolutely brilliant read as always. Jim Nichols from New Zealand. I'm sure the cycle ride was just a start, Ron, and I won't be surprised to see a new challenger in the Tour de France this year. A yellow jersey would suit you well. I asked Jim, because those of you who pop across to Jim's channel and have a look now and again, will see that Jim's very much into kites of all sizes and descriptions, wonderful stuff. I asked him how his kite season had gone this year, and he said it's the worst summer I've ever known for flying. Good Lord, excuse me. But I've been out as much as possible. Just a week of official summer left, so maybe autumn will be better. Well, we can hope, Jim, yeah. Hope you can get out there. I know how much you enjoy it. Pete Payne, that was lovely and good to see you on a bike, he says. I enjoyed all the bird songs too. Jackdaws, blackbirds, magpie, song thrush, chiff-chaff, and a possible blackcap. Blimey, Pete, you know your birds, well done. Anybody spot anything that Pete didn't list? I know it'll be the odd pigeon, there always is the odd pigeon making a noise. Oh, well done. Michael from Poland. Your bike certainly looks fit for purpose, he says. May I suggest, as you admitted to being a bit of a novice, you fit some stabilisers until you feel confident enough. See, Marilyn will be on your case, Michael. Only been helpful. Charles from the US of A. You get points by unearthing your cycling skills. Thank you, Charles. I turned 62 last year, he says, and haven't used a bike since my kids were little, some 30 years ago. I bet that's the song written by most of us on here, as slightly older people. Yeah, that old tread wheel out for ages. Right, nearly there. Here's Barry. said he enjoyed the film and the commentary. Can I suggest you fit a stabiliser to the bike, or how about investing in an old stop me and buy one ice cream cart? That's an old three-wheeler bike thing, wouldn't it? Yeah. I think you could have made some money while filming. Take his name down, Marilyn. We'll get him. Rodney Masters. Oh dear. Good to see you return to Bitten, he says. Clearly not a case of once bitten, twice. Get your coat on the way out, please, Rodney. Brilliant. Lionel and Mary Travels. I haven't ridden a bike for a very long time, he says, and with my lack of balance, I'm not sure I could. Well, I had the same thought, Lionel. I actually went into a big open car park for my first trial to see if I could stay on the thing. So yes, we did just, but I have to admit I'm all over the place. I hope it will get better. When the weather gets better, I should be out a bit more to see how we get on. Right. He says you're a bit nearer to Bath now. If it follows the original route, you should end up in the Sainsbury's car park. How good. Look forward to that. He said that was the site of the Bath Green station. Simon! Engage on a shelf. I also bought a bike back in December, he says, from a charity shop. As yet, due to the weather, it hasn't turned a wheel. From April, I'm down to working 3 days a week for a year. Hopefully I'll get the chance to ride it and shift a pound or two. You make sure you do, Simon. As I explained to Simon, I bought like a frame and put my road bike on the frame, which raises the rear wheel off the ground. It gives it a bit of resistance, and so I can use that now in my garage anytime I like. Doesn't matter what happens to the weather, the temperature, or anything else. So yes, there you are, Simon. No excuses. No, you're trying to put it off. Yes, David winds up this week. I honestly think you couldn't find a better way to restore and repurpose an old railway line at the same time. Yeah, that's true, isn't it? You think it's either going to be a railway or a cycle path. Well, there you've got both, which is brilliant. I guess the only thing is that the track width needs to be for double track to give you the space to fit it all in. Yeah, I guess so. He said, when did you film this one? It must have been when Simon was out of the country. Simon the rain god. Yes, the hairy golf for Simon. Everywhere he goes, the rain follows him. So David reckons he must have been out of the country when I was filming that. Good old Simon. And David says, I posted something on here this week. Yeah, David's posted a film of a walk in Spain, starting from his village. He lives in a very rugged area. It's a beautiful walk. I suggest you pop across and take a look. It's certainly a contrast to sort of walking we do over here, I have to say. Right, okay, so in a few minutes time then, and thank you for everybody for your contribution, by the way. Brilliant stuff, brilliant. So the film this on in just a few seconds time, The Canal That Wasn't, and that will all be explained. And then next week, oh dear, I think I'm taking a risk next week. I'm putting a film on from a visit I did to the Morgan Cars factory. And you have a problem there with noise. If you try to, well, when you film it, the noise you get blocks out anything that the guide is trying to tell you. And when you actually do the tour, you get like an earpiece put on your ear, and he has a microphone so you can hear him. But there's no way to get that into the camera. So you don't have much option other than to put music on, which is what I've done. Overlaid it with music. So I think I might lose a few on this one, unfortunately, because not everybody's into cars, are they? But well, we'll see, and hopefully then I'll see you in a fortnight. So those of you that are watching next week's film, good luck and thank you, and everybody else, I'll see you in a fortnight, guys. Don't be late. This is what I reckon is the entrance to the Cheltenham to River Severn Canal. It's a drainage system now, but it makes sense that they'd use it for that. Somebody else has done all the hard work. Then you can see it wending its way through the fields. Cheltenham bound. So this is it as it winds its way up to the road. You can clearly see the line of it there, coming up from the river. It goes through there, which is under the road. And then on up there. On up through the grassy meadow. Don't know what we're going to see up here, there's only one way to find out. See that hopefully. A quick look at the map. We're starting from the left hand side, we're going to follow the canal all the way up then to Coombe Hill, which gets us to the right hand side of the map. Then we'll cross over, come back on the other side and see what we can find of interest on the way back. Well, pleasant morning for a walk if nothing else. I'm sure we'll find something of interest sooner or later. Hidden in there you can see and hear a sluice. Maybe let water out when you don't want it and in when you do. I'm not sure what the water supply situation was on this canal. Shouldn't have been too bad down here, you'd think. Told you we'd find something. Take off across the meadows. The May is out in abundance. Oh, look at that set against the blue sky. Gorgeous. That's looking back. It's quite a narrow canal, isn't it? Or down to Cost, I guess. That's not helping. Some huge pock marks here from our horsey colleagues. The area there has been grubbed out to give the animals access to the water. I doubt that was part of the original canal plan. I suspect that's a later addition. You can see how marvellously level this is here because it's still got water in it. There's water all the way down. So it's amazing how they kept the levels just right. No need for locks and things. I don't think we're going to get away from noisy helicopters and the like today. This one has to be the towpath. Of course there should be no boundaries on this path because the canal just kept on going. Looking at the lumps of grass here on this fallen tree, you can see how high the water does get when it's in flood. There is a field boundary on that side. You see there's a picture there somewhere. That's looking back and that's looking forward. Arrow straight at this point. I suppose the secret to keeping water in it is to pick the right route to start with. They obviously did that. This has been so arrow straight up till now that that slight kink is worthy of note. Dealing with something in the terrain perhaps. There's a gully there leads off the canal, and I think at the end of the gully looks to be a large pond. So it was probably used as a reservoir, I would guess. There are extensive water supplies on both sides here. I guess that kept them going, or was designed to keep the supply going while they were locking in and out. There's almost a second canal on that side. That's on our right. At this point now you can see that in relation to the surrounding land, the canal is quite shallow. Although it's higher this side, we're obviously standing on the spoil, working with the terrain again. A mile or so in now and we've got that. That's curious, because that's obviously not high enough to get a boat underneath. Obviously it was done then after the canal had closed. Very substantial. I'm starting to feel a little bit uncomfortable about this. We'll see. Well, this isn't helping, but there's a ditch off there. Official or not, who knows? Evidently not fast flowing. Actually not flowing at all, I don't think. In actual fact, it's dammed up by the fallen tree. Looking back doesn't clarify the situation, it's just a jumbled mess of fallen trees. Onward then. We've had some intrepid cyclists along here. Can't say it would appeal to me, it's a bit rough, but each to their own. Okay, point of interest. Water on that side, and a tunnel, bridge, whatever, connecting to our canal on that side, plus another pond over there, which looks like another feeder. Leads on up there. Not sure if that's a stream or just a ditch. Those old posts have a kind of original look about them, don't you think? Especially that one. I guess you could mistake that for a basin of some sort. It's big enough. A gentle curve to the left at this point, and on we go. Still being shadowed by this water course on the right hand side. If that were dug out by hand, that's a hell of an investment. A great long straight here. I suspect the surveyor was quite pleased to find that. Weather's holding out. One or two tiny clouds on the horizon, that's it. You have to wonder if this canal hasn't changed sides, but there's been no evidence of a change. So that's the canal on the left, looking more like a ditch, whereas that's a ditch on the right, looking more like a canal. Go figure. Suspicious, isn't it? There's what looks like a drainage ditch facility on that side. Heading up there. Over there is our mysterious ditch. There's a map board here. This might help us sort it out. Right, so the canal is behind us then. That needs some investigation. Welcome to your canal, which is not what we've been following for the last mile and a half. Well, we have, but we haven't been filming it. I reckon the ditch is more photogenic, mind you. In fact, the canal is completely hidden behind that impenetrable hedge. This whole thing went wrong at the road, where the ditch, as we now know it, is the only thing that goes underneath the road. That needs a bit more investigation, I think. And what we're now going to call the ditch looks more like a canal, and then so does the canal. None but the brave, I think. I'm going to count myself in that. And that's the nature reserve. According to the warden I've just been talking to, this area here we would be underwater at this point in the winter. So you can see marvellous for water birds out here. And now at risk to life and limb, a view up the canal. Down the canal not quite so impressive. Canal getting serious at this point. Well, at least the old ditch is still visible, which is more than you can say for the canal. It's hidden through there somewhere. Okay, covered off that stretch then. On to the end. Hopefully not too far. If you look very closely you can see the canal through there very closely. Well, this went wrong then at the main road, because at the main road the ditch goes underneath the road, whereas there's no sign of a canal, lock or bridge or whatever. I don't think. We're going to have to check that out when we go back. But on the basis that that lines up also with the cut from the Severn itself, that looked to be the canal, but in actual fact it's not, it's the ditch. A rather fancy name, and the canal's been with us all along. I don't think, mind you, there's much to be seen on the canal down that part, so we've probably chose the right option with something to look at. My excuse, I'm sticking with that. And excitement mounts, we cross the canal. There you have it. Reaching its terminus at this point. This is where they ran out of cash because they needed the big money to get through the next hill. Either had to dig it out or put a tunnel through, and that's where the project stopped, run out of loot. Just for continuity, that's looking back down the canal. Yeah, not much to see down there. We'll now follow up this side of the canal and say goodbye to our ditch. Now that looks like a canal, probably because it is. Push off pigeon. Ah, a few fish in there. Exceptionally clear water. That must be stream fed, I guess. So where are all the kingfishers then? Twitchers about, but no kingfishers. It's not fair. Right, I think we're coming to the end now. It looked for a while as if the canal swung round to the left and went on a little way farther, but in actual fact that is the end. In fact, the canal widens out here, I think in anticipation of a tunnel, so you could moor up and wait your turn. And that turn never came, unfortunately. Perhaps they used to use it as far as here and then unload and walk the rest of the way to Cheltenham. That's probably it, I would think. Horse and cart from here on. He didn't care. Done. Well, here we are at the head, looking down. The wall there actually formed a wharf, so they could get their coal this far to Cheltenham, halfway I guess. And offloaded onto the donkey cart. On that wall there, you've got to guess. Okay, we're now traipsed back that way. 2.5 miles apparently. The River Severn to Cheltenham Canal then. It was begun to get coal to Cheltenham, to the merchants there. It of course ran out of money, as these things do, when it reached Coombe Hill, and there was a big investment needed there for that bit of work. So it's stored there, but they did actually use the canal. They used to ferry the coal as far as Coombe Hill, and then it was offloaded and went by horse and cart. Must have reduced the cost somewhat. But nice canal, late 1800s. See what we see. Wow. An opportunity here. What do you think? Not that much farther, is it? Actually, it's alright for you. Let's give it a go. Snipe pool. It's a mite blowy. Kind of the middle of nowhere here. Cloudless blue still. I turn the corner here. This next bit doesn't count because we had to walk in this direction anyway. Nice big meadow. Ah, looking hopeful then. Something great meadow. That's a treat, isn't it? Holding the war gang. Well, guess what? Another meadow. Over there I spy a bridge, so we must be somewhere near the Hyde by now. A day or two since that's been used. In fact, it's not a bridge, it is actually the Hyde. Take a look. Sorry about this, folks. It's middle of the day, so you're not going to see very much. You need to be here either first thing in the morning or quite late in the afternoon, early evening. We'll get on with it. There appears to be a path of sorts going diagonal up there. Or straight ahead from here, so see where that gets us. I took a chance and took a detour into this corner. Unfortunately, there's no bridge, can't get through. So, got to go back up here, which is the official route. I'll never learn. The official route contains a bridge, which is useful. Next bridge, over there. We've passed this before on the outward journey. Over our now infamous ditch. Start the walk home. To here, which is nearly back to the road. This is where it all went pear-shaped. So ditch on the right. And the canal is just about visible, still on the left. And at risk to life and limb, I've come down to the canal level, which tells us precisely nothing. It just disappears into the undergrowth, but I've got the alignment. Which means that then is the canal bridge. And there is some water over there. I was looking back up the canal. There's some sort of ramp there, look. Could have been to tow the horses, the barges through. suggests that the line of the canal then is over there, hidden. Where the confusion arises then is that the ditch is visible coming up there from the Severn, whereas the canal there isn't visible. Not yet anyway. Still keeping the canal on the left. That's a better view of it, kind of. Severn to Cheltenham Canal. Go on, I can't resist the occasional pretty shot. Looking down that way, look, large pieces of dressed stone. So something to do with the canal here. We're quite near the river, but I don't think it's a lock. And taking a peek upstream, yes, it is a lock. You could just make out a curved stone there where the gates would have hinged. A one and only lock. Brickwork here from the lock chamber. A little farther down, large coping stones. Could be some sort of dock. That's looking towards Cheltenham. That's about all we can see towards the Severn, which is just of there. So this is where the canal meets the Severn. There are no signs of any structures here of any sort. But this way, look, we can actually walk up the canal bed a little way. Well, journey's end for us, and the sunlight's making a mockery of the exposure on my poor little camera. There's the side of the lock. There's that, a noisy helicopter, and that could be a sluice. Showing its construction. And the large coping stones actually lead into the lock chamber, denoted by that wall. Again, getting fooled by my poor camera. That's it, folks. We're out of here.